Good morning. I was working on a video here and found that my microphone became unplugged when I knocked the camera over and it fell down the lathe. But I'll start over on it because I think it's kind of an interesting subject. You might find it useful. Now, this jig boring machine uses a special taper tooling that's drawn in with a thread, and it's close to a 30 taper, and it's the highest accuracy machine of its time. And the shanks for the tools, what they wanted you to do is be sure that the shanks fit the spindle, and then keep those shanks with the machine and not share them with other machines. So if your shank doesn't fit, then you can lap it by hand, and it's a taper, so that makes it a little difficult. But I'll show you how to do that because I'm going to do it to a number 4 Morse taper that I have right here. Now this is an import ER40 collet chuck with a tang, and they're kind of hard to find with a tang. And I found a famous make one of these things with a tang, and it was like 360 bucks. But this thing here was like 60, and I figured, well, I can deal with whatever needs to be done with it to true it up, because I've got the universal tool and cutter grinder sitting here, and I can grind this shank and I can grind the internal taper. So I can take something like this that's out of whack and true it up. But it's really quite close. But the shank itself had an odd finish to it, and it was lumpy. And I've taken those precision ground stones, these things that were sent to me, and they work real good, and I got the worst of it taken care of. Now but it's still not sticking into the Morse 4 taper on the Axelson tailstock, and my Morse radial drill out there is Morse taper 4 too, so I can share tooling, which is a good thing with this Axelson. So to check an easy way with the more, you can't really do it this way because it's drawn in with a thread, so you got to use Prussian blue. So I just take a marquee, marks all here, and draw a good line on it, then stick it in the spindle here. I got the spindle clean. Just insert it and rotate it. Like I said, I've been working on this, but I ruined the videos, but I'm not done, so we'll just call it a new video because it's not quite finished yet. So you see, I'm just kind of rotating it. The tang will only let it go so far. Then I'm going to take, where'd that go? Somewhere here, right here, lead hammer. I'm just going to knock it in, and I can't pull it out. And this shank was so bad it just wouldn't stick. But like I said, I've been working on it a little bit, and I'm going to fine tune it with what I'm going to show you. Okay, so I need to eject it, and it ejected with a slight bump. And we can look at the ink here. And you can see it's contacting very good here, and it's contacting right there quite well. So I'm going to get this thing set up in the lathe and show you how I lap this. Okay, I will be back with that. Okay, so I got this marked by sticking it in there and twisting it and jamming it in, and it shows the high spots where the ink rubbed off. And that is where I'm going to lap it, okay? So we'll get this in the chuck here. Try not to knock that camera over again. I'll tell you, the little GoPros can take a beating. So I got the chuck in there. 3-jaw chuck. Now I'm holding it. I got a 5/8 ground steel pin in the ER40 end. And I'm going to lock it in. Now, under no circumstances should you put lapping compound on that and attempt to lap it into that socket. You'll end up damaging the socket. You don't want to do anything like that, though you see people do stuff like that. Don't do it. Lap the part to fit, okay? If this is in bad shape, then get the proper tools to repair it. Don't attempt to lap two things like that together. That's not good at all. Okay, now what I'm using for a lap, see if I can get this there, is little strips of lead. Like that's a strip of plumber's ribbon lead. And to prepare this, I'll take a pocket knife and I'll take and score it like that. Like a lap is, like a flat lap. It has those marks, like a checkerboard or something. So I got it going that way. Then I get them going this way, kind of a cross pattern on it. That's about good enough. Okay, get a couple more that way. Now, for lapping compound, I do not suggest using diamond lapping compound, which you'll see people do all the time. They think because it's diamond and it costs more, it's got to be better. The best thing to use is silicon carbide, and this is Clover compound. You can buy it in tubes. Clover grade C. And it's silicon carbide and an oil base. So you see I got some of that little screwdriver, and this is called charging the lap. So I'm smearing that stuff on there along with a little bit of oil. Get that coated over there. Then you want to take and, like I'm taking the shank of this little screwdriver and just pushing that stuff into that lead. And that's when you're truly charging the lap. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, here's one that I've been using. Now, I want to kind of localize one place here. Let's look at it. See if I can rotate that over. You see there's that spot right there. So I'm going to work that with that little narrow piece of lead. Then I've got a couple, here's kind of a wide one. And then I've got this one. So I'm going to take the narrow piece I just cut, and I'm going to fold it over the shank of this tool. And I got this just a little, so it goes about halfway. Now, I'm holding this like this, or with another finger like that, and that gives it a 3-point pressure. Doing it all by hand. So I got it right on that little narrow place, and I got a 3-point pressure thing going there. Okay, I'll get this machine going. get her started up. And I'm going to go over here to the fabulous American rotary converter. Kick power to it, hit the start button. Get the lathe started. Okay, I'm gonna around 200, under 300, so I'm gonna try 264. That'd be the, you know, an upper speed. So I'll get it shifted. You know, it took me 2 years to learn to shift this lathe. Okay, I think you can see pretty good there. And here's that narrow piece of material. And I'm going to start lapping that, that spot right there. Running nice and smooth. Right there. Now I'm going to go back and forth on it like a crosshatch. Yeah, right in that spot right there. Let's see if we can improve that a little bit. Now I got 3 points of pressure, see? When I get tired, I'll start doing it this way. Okay, I'm going to reverse it. By reversing it, you'll help keep the part round. Whoop. Right out of my fingers. Just working that area back and forth like honing. This is sort of like honing. Okay, now I'm going to go to this shank area here, the lower part of the shank, and work it. I put a little bit of compound on it. Then you can also put a finger underneath and help smear that compound where you need it. Now again, I got a 3-point pressure on this. Let's see if we can improve that contact. Now I'm kind of working a localized area a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put it forward. Got a good slurry of compound on that tool. Come on, don't lose it. There we go. Yeah, just kind of like that. I'm not going to worry about getting 100% contact, but I want better contact up at the upper part here. Okay, now I'm going to take a wider one here, piece of lead, get a bunch of compound on it, and I'm going to work over the whole thing and try to blend in those areas a little bit that I localized on. So now I'm working the whole piece. Maybe emphasize a little bit down here. Run about 260 RPMs. You don't want to go fast. And do not attempt to do this with emery cloth. Of course, if you're shining something up with emery cloth, you'd be running at a very high speed. Get my thumb on there to get that 3-point contact. It's feeling pretty smooth. You have to go by feel too. Get up in this upper area a little bit. Okay, I'm going to reverse it. Now reversing it will help keep the part round. It can be a challenge to hang on to that. Okay, now to make it a nice finish to see the ink on, I'm just going to slowly move it like that without doing that crosshatch type deal there. You cannot do this with emery cloth. Okay, get that little bit right there. Alrighty. Using some blue paper towel to get most of that off. The appearance of this shank is really getting nice from the lapping compound. Okay, we'll ink it up and test it. Okay. All right. Okay, think you can see where I'm heading with this. Okay, I got that ink right there. I'm going to slide it in and just ease it back and forth. The tang will only let it go so far. I can feel the taper grabbing better after each cycle here. Okay, I'm going to knock it in, then eject it. Each time it's better. Okay, we still have that spot right there, but you can see this is climbing and getting to be better contact. So I'm going to repeat the cycle again and keep going just like I showed you, and we'll check it again in a little while. Okay, we can check on the progress here. I probably put about 15 more minutes lapping on this. You can see that the ink's getting rubbed away further up the shank here. I'm still working a little bit on this, but a lot more on that. And the low spot is where the ink is, you see. So we're getting very, very close. So I will continue lapping and be back. Okay, after another 10 to 15 minutes of lapping, it's getting even better. And it's almost good enough, but I'm going to keep working it. Mostly down in here and a little bit right there, and kind of get that cleaned up a little bit right there where it's low. I can actually feel that that's kind of a rough spot in there, and I'm just going to keep working it, even if I'll put another half hour in it, but I could call it good here actually. Okay, I will be back. Well, I think I got it to a very satisfactory point. Let's have a look at it. I think it's very good. I got good contact at the top, and you got to have some good contact at the top or it'll tend to kind of flop if it's just held by the bottom. And I think that is enough percentage of contact to call it good. My hands are a little bit tired. Now I'll shut this thing down and we'll have a little rehash of just what I did. Kick that in neutral. Kick off the American rotary and the power to it. Okay. So what I was doing was taking these strips of lead and hitting it where it needed to be hit with a crosshatch. And see how I was holding on to that? It's like 3 points. Then I could take my other finger and smear that lapping compound where it needed to be. So I was holding that with 3 points like that, reversing the spindle, and then at the end, slowly moving it back and forth to get that nice looking finish there and kind of remove that crosshatch look. And it just inked out nice there. It sticks in the quill of the Axelson here very nicely. Yeah, I just stuck it there and it stuck before I could just pull it out. So that's an excellent fit. I'm very, very happy. That's a much more useful tool, and it's going to be an important tool on the radial drill press, and much more useful here. Of course, I have my chucks running true, and it was very nice to stick this in there and have it run true while I was lapping it. Okay, and again, do not put lapping compound on a shank like this and twist it to lap it into a quill. That'll really cause some problems with your quill. cause considerable damage. So it's that easy and that tedious. My hands are a little sore from that. Okay, Chloe's out there barking. I better stop her before they call the dog catcher. I'll be back.